Hello, this is Brian. Welcome to another clip of my Mount Peltier hike. So like I said, I'm going to be doing more of my filming on the way down. And now you'll see these little dots that'll mark a quarter mile. So, and then you'll see a line, two lines meaning 2 miles, and that's from where we're parked at the junction of Table Mtn Road and 4N21. So basically, when you're hiking up this, you're just following the dirt. Well, I think there are dirt roads that get up here. But when you're hiking this way from Table Mountain, or the way I went, we're just following the paved road that leads up to the top. That's all you have to do. There are a lot of dirt roads in this area. You can see a dirt road here on the west slope of Mount Peltier, which is I just left just back up there. And I'm just enjoying a very leisurely descent. There's a little bit of undulation along this hike, so you have some ups and downs, but nothing that should really be bad. This is not one of those way out in the middle of nowhere cross-country hikes where you gotta scramble and do all this craziness. This is just a very mellow hike. Gives you a little bit of some calorie burning, and then, as I mentioned, some awesome scenery along the way. We got our typical awesome canyon live oaks. Single leaf pinions are quite common up here, and then we got our white firs, of course. And then as we're heading back down, some of the Jeffrey pines get fairly decent sized. I gotta admit, there's some pretty decent sized Jeffrey pines in this area. Of course, it's October, it's black oak season. This time last year, they were still pretty green. So I remember this Sunday last year was the 25th. I went to Palomar Mountain, where they're usually well into their fall color by now, and they were still just about all green. This year, October's been much more fall-like, at least in the mountains. Where I live, it's actually been a fairly decent October, I'm not going to lie. Usually we can have some pretty nasty heat waves. We had some hot days in October, but nothing, it hasn't been that bad. It's actually been a pretty mild October. Yesterday, I think it only got up in the 60s where I live. And here we are, the pollen cones, the male/pollen cones of our beautiful Abies concolor, baby. Beautiful, nice sized white fir. Of course, we're here. Looks like it's a little past the peak. Of course, it's probably last weekend. When there were parts where I was checking out in the southern Sierras where they were nearing or at peak, and it's been about 5 or 6 days since I've been out, so might have just came over here. This one's a little bit past its peak. The leaves are starting to dry off and fall, so this is more what I would expect for this time of year. Down there in the shadier spots, the trees hold on to their leaves a little bit longer, so you get a little more color. And wow, there's a humongous Jeffrey pine in there. Oh wow, right there. That's a huge Jeffrey pine. Wow, that's a monster. Not gonna lie, that's a monster. That's a big Jeffrey pine. Might go down there a little bit closer, because we're gonna junction with a dirt road. If you take the route, if you just take the direct route from Table Mountain Road, the big pull out, huge pull out, all you have to do is just follow this the whole way up. That's all you have to do. Just follow it the whole way up the mountain. That's all you got to do. There's a sign for 4N21, partially ripped off, which is the paved road. But as you get to the top, as you get up higher up, as you get up closer to the summit, you'll see the paved road bear left, and then the dirt road bears right. When you get up closer to the summit of Peltier, the dirt road, I think 4N21 becomes the dirt road, and the paved portion is I guess becomes just the service road to the summit. I'm going to go down here a little bit. just see what's going on down here, because there are a lot of dirt roads and trails that seem to come through this area. So not only going up to Peltier would be a pretty cool little adventure, but around here, we're going on this north-facing slope here. Things are about to get lusher, and like I said, there's quite a decent-sized Jeffrey pine. Some really hefty white firs. Here's that black oak that's past its peak. Still love the architecture of black oak trees. Yeah. Although I don't think there's a clear way to get to it without going off trail, but that was the tall Jeffrey pine I was talking about. Thought this might be a little close. Well, let's see. Figure the work of the day is over, so the play of the day begins. Work of the day meaning hiking to a summit. I call it the business portion of the day. Now, I mean, I still have to hike back to my car, but I mean, I made the business of climbing up to the top. So let's see. It's quite luscious over here. Quite delectable scenery. Gorgeous over here, really. Can't go wrong here in the San Gabriel Mountains, I'll tell you. You really can't. Nice little pinyon pines up here too. So you get the drier stuff, like the single-leaf pinions, mixing in with the stuff that likes a little more moisture, like the white firs. It's kind of a neat contrast. Some of these pinions, they're not really tall, but they're kind of old and have these really nice stubby, shrubby architectures that are quite attractive. Here's an old Jeffrey pine that flattened out on its top. So I imagine this area gets some fierce winds. And then we got Utah serviceberry, Amelanchier utahensis, in fall color. I know I've mentioned on some of my other plant videos, like on skunk brush, Rus aromatica, that most of our stuff typically turns yellow in fall. Yellow is a pretty typical fall color for the shrubs and trees here in Southern California, with some, of course, exceptions like skunk brush, poison oak, creek dogwood, and sometimes western chokecherry. I know a lot of western chokecherry on the way up here, and most of them were actually yellow, but in some areas they turn red and orange. And incense cedar, Calosagus decurrens, beautiful incense cedar. I didn't see a lot of incense cedar during my Sierras trip, because the way I went, I mean, I did see some, but when I went up to the Sherman Pass area, I went up from the 395 and 9 Mile Canyon Road, so I went up the east side through Kennedy Meadows. There's another incense cedar in there. Beautiful scenery out here. So yeah, I went up from that route, and on that side it's single leaf pinion, Sierra juniper, then Jeffrey pine, flannel bush. Yeah, like over here. Very kind of similar scenery, minus the incense cedars. Incense cedars here, sometimes you'll find them even on the drier sides of the mountains. Sometimes in the desert draining canyons too. But I didn't really see incense cedar until I went down the west side of Sherman Pass, down to Kern River Canyon. That's when I started seeing incense cedar, mostly below 7,000 feet. I mostly see it below 7K here, but we're a little above it right now. A little above it, maybe about 7,300 feet. I have a feeling we're gonna have a really good viewpoint coming up. Like I said, I veered off the dirt. I'm on a dirt road right now. It probably leads back down to the desert, I would imagine. Just wanted to see if I can get a good viewpoint over here. Oh yeah. You can see the north side of Mount Peltier clothed in timber. Well, here, we're at this little canyon, leads down. And of course, Brian didn't look up his canyons. He didn't look up his canyon, so he can't say, oh, this is such and such canyon. If I remember, look it up on the computer, on Google, well, on the topo maps. Should be able to figure out what canyon this is, but you got some really nice views. All part of Table Ridge Mountain, leading down to the high Mojave Desert. Beautiful, beautiful morning out here. Actually, it's probably close to noon by now. Probably close to noon, maybe even a little later. But well, figured I'd just take some time and show this area off. It looks like old service roads all up and down this area, actually. Oh, some larger incense cedars down there. But well, I'm going to go back to the pavement and keep following my way down that. I'll see you down the way. I will have more video clips because there's definitely a lot more to see. More of the forest. You'll pick up some really nicely forested pockets along the way down that are very scenic. So anybody wanting to do this hike or just interested in the area might want to check out my last few clips. And of course, that junction's all, if there are any confusing junctions, I'll point them out and stuff. But I'll see you on my next clip. I'll show you some more beautiful forest in this area, some larger, heftier jeffrey pines. So I'll see you on the next clip.